So, hello and welcome back to another thrilling adventure with Beryl in Azeroth. This week, we are going to be exploring the Bloodmyst Isle. Now, Bloodmyst Isle is an island that I feel like has a lot of really good quests and a lot of really fun stuff to explore. The main issue against it is the same as with Bloodmyst Isle. You can't fly here, so you're kind of limited, and I feel like a lot of people don't explore it because of that. So I explored it for you, and let's just go and check it out. Now, honestly, my favorite part of Bloodmyst Isle is the fact that this coastline is called the Beryl Coast. It's kind of funny, I did not name Beryl for this coastline. I didn't name it for any of the other Beryl things that are in game. But since I made this character, I have found so many things named Beryl in this game. It's kind of awesome. So yeah, we're going to head west and we're going to go around the coastline first. We're going to go across the Beryl Coast. But before we do have to touch on Kessel's Crossing. And yes, this is a reference to Star Wars because you can do the quest, the Kessel Run here. It's kind of fun. You have to take one of these Elyx and run all the way around the Bloodmyst Isle and do the Kessel Run. I remember the first time I did it, I don't think I actually made the achievement, but I have since done it. So, Bloodmyst Isle is really interesting. It was once called Silvergale, and that was before the Draenei crashed into it. Again, with the Draenei crashing. And there's lots of Draenei crashing jokes. In fact, I think a lot of your Draenei characters will do Draenei crashing into things jokes. But yeah, it just kind of not exactly the best of all things. Now, all of the wildlife have been infected and irradiated by I'm assuming it's the drive crystals from the Draenei ship, and that is why it has now been renamed Bloodmyst. Now, if you look back, the very first part, the Beryl Coast, is the only area of the island that is not covered in this kind of creepy red mist that's everywhere. So that's why they called it Bloodmyst. The Draenei did set up the Blood Watch. It's the only flight point in or out of Bloodmyst Isle, and they're trying to figure out how to heal the isle. But I have heard that ever since the Fourth Wall, Zakan has come here and discovered that it's actually gotten worse. So that part kind of sucks. Right over here is one of, I think there are two satyr encampments, and this is Nazivan. Nazivan? Yeah, who knows how to say it. All I know is I will probably butcher anything that I'm supposed to actually be saying, but you know what? That's just me. This is populated by satyrs and corrupted treants. Again, corrupted by all of the crystals that you see everywhere. There's a fun quest here that will grant you the movement glyphs, which are kind of fun to play with. Wish that they worked off of this island, but they don't. You can also see that the same creepy trees from the Karazhan area are all over out here. And then I'm going to run directly into a spot and get stuck, because that is what I do. Alright, we're going to keep on touring. I didn't find any good housing here, unfortunately. You know, that's always the first thing I look for. Speaking of housing, later on this afternoon, if you're watching this when it comes out, or possibly already out if you're watching it later, I decided to have a little bit of fun, and there's an extra video going out on my channel today where I recreate the Lion's Pride Inn, also known as the notorious Goldshire Inn, from the Alliance side in The Sims 4. Is it an exact replica? No, I don't think we could do an exact replica in The Sims, but it was as good as I could get it. Also, if you ever need a place to see an absolutely gorgeous sunset, Bloodmyst Isle is your place to kind of hang out and just look at that sunset. I almost wish I could see one like that in real life, but if the sky's that red, you're probably in for some storms the next day. Speaking of storms, if any of you are from the northeastern portion of the United States, I hope you are all safe and fine. I did see that there were some intense storms your way. So hopefully you are all okay. Alright, we're going to just keep on trucking around Bloodmyst Isle here. I always like to run the perimeter, especially on islands that Blizzard makes, before I really explore the interior, because I feel like Blizzard generally puts the absolute coolest stuff around the perimeters of these islands. I've found some unexpected houses that way. I've found some really cool just little campsites. Found a couple interesting little caves every now and then. Now, unfortunately, Bloodmyst doesn't seem to have much of that, but, you know, it's always good to check. I did see somebody actually did a video or a series of videos that their character just swam all the way around Azeroth, checking out all the fun stuff under the water. And speaking of fun stuff under the water, this is a place that I never had any reason to go when I was just questing, etc., but have since learned about, and oh my goodness, this is some red, red water. Hopefully we can get out of this blood color, because down below us, here in the Hidden Reef, is an area that if you're a shaman, you will probably be familiar with. And if you're like me and have never really played a shaman, you probably didn't even know was a thing. But yeah, if you are a shaman or ever played one, and oh my gosh, I have no idea. The game just updated today to a new patch, and when I was here last night, all of this red was not quite so intense, but it is really bad today. But this is where the Call of Water quest from Classic, where I think you had to get your water form if you were a shaman, or maybe it was the Druid quest. I don't know, because I didn't really play either of them, but here in this water temple, you will find Aqueous, I think his name is, if I can find him here. It would be much easier if all of this red was not here. Like I said, it was not anything that I noticed yesterday, but it's definitely here today. Yeah, it doesn't look like Aqueous is here, which is unusual. Anyway, this is where the Call of Water quest line was picked up back in Classic. So I will show you on the map once I get up and out of this hideous redness where that actually is. I don't know if... Yeah, it's fine once we're above the surface. Anyway, what you need to do is just look for this very odd square that is not red in the water, but it is right here just off of the Amberweb Pass, etc. area. And you'll know that you're there if you see this really cute little gnome, which is our next destination. Now, also, if you're looking for the bear that you have to kill for questing in the Draenei zone, he's right over here just past the Blood Wash. And he is very easy to find. You just look for all these dead turtles, and there is Deathclaw the bear. But I do have to highlight, because I just think it's the funniest thing ever, that Blizzard likes to throw a quest giver in a very unusual spot, and that is this little gnome who's living right here amidst all these murlocs, and that is Clopper Whizbang. He's right here, and not only can he set you off on a few quests, he can also at least be a thing that you can sell some stuff to. I thought that he was also a repair, but I guess he's not. Anyway, moving on. So directly ahead of us is a big old chunk of the Draenei ship that crashed, and that is the warp piston. I'm assuming that that's for their warp drive, but I can't really say that with 100% certainty. It is kind of interesting that all over the warp piston you have all of these void anomalies, which just kind of look like Warlock Voidwalkers to me with a few extra spikes. Now we are coming up on a very interesting portion of the whole Bloodmyst Isle area, and that is right across the Crimson Reach. Now, I'm not going to lie, most of this lore I found on Wowipedia. They've been pretty accurate so far, so I'm going to kind of trust them, because this is nothing I actually knew about Wormscar Island. And that is, before the Great Sundering, the whole of Bloodmyst Isle, but especially Wormscar Island, was heavily populated by night elves. And they were mostly living in a large city that was Loretharon. Now, these night elves were blessed by Ysera and the Green Dragonflight, and they actually were dragon riders, which I thought that was really cool, like the Dragon Riders of Azeroth instead of the Dragon Riders of Pern. But their entire city was destroyed by the Black Dragonflight. The fearsome Razor Maw, who I think we can see right up there flying around, that is Razor Maw's shade actually, is the lieutenant that did most of the destruction. And according to Wowipedia, all of these Viridian whelps that are flying around are not actually alive. They're actually ghosts. I did not know that. They look pretty alive to me, and I think I remember having hunters that could skin them, but, you know, in WoW, sure, why not skin a ghost? Sounds like fun to me. But when you go up here, you can see a little bit more of Emberwing flying around. You have to do a big old quest where you get some old dragon bones. You toss the dragon bones onto the ever-burning pyre. You pull down Emberwing. He comes flying down to you, and then you kill him again. But I just thought that that was super interesting. Like, I never pictured Night Elf Dragon Riders, but now I'm kind of living for it. Like, bring those... I mean, I guess technically we're all Dragon Riders now if you're playing retail, but I don't know. I guess just because I read so much Anne McCaffrey that the whole idea of the Dragon Riders of Azeroth has me tickled pink. Anyway, there's one other interesting thing to see here. Now, just like most Night Elf ruins, these ruins are heavily populated by the Naga. No surprise there, but there also is evidence of Alliance humans being in the area once upon a time, and you can interact, and I'm pretty sure do quests, with Captain Edward Haynes, who leads all of these lost souls under the water. We're going to see if it turns all completely red again when I go under here. Yep. I have no idea if that's just a new thing that Blizzard did and broke something, or if that's something in my files that is suddenly making underwater hideously red. But yeah, there's a bunch of Alliance ghosts, and there's a bunch of Naga swimming around. You quest, you kill some, you help some others, but Here we've got a blood-cursed voyager here. Maybe I can actually see him if I'm just a little bit under the water. No, it's still pretty darn red. Oh well. Anyway, we're going to leave this area and venture inland now. Actually, before we head too far inland, we have to go over to this other tiny little island just off of Wormscar Isle. It is totally infested by Naga. It is the Blood Curse Isle. And I'm pretty sure that this is where you finish up the questing for the captain back there when he gives you quests. But you go all the way to the top of the isle and you actually get to see a pretty spiffy statue to our very favorite Naga queen. Well, she didn't used to be a Naga, but you know, hey, life goes on. And for whatever reason, I just completely blanked on her name, because that is the way I do. Ajara. See, I knew if I just thought about it long enough, I could remember her name. Now, so this is how World of Warcraft pictured Queen Ajara before we actually got to see her in that memorable cutscene. So yeah, that is the Blood Curse Isle. A little bit of fun. Like I said, it's kind of too bad that for whatever reason all of the red tinted water is so red tinted you can't actually see what's under it. I could see what was under it yesterday, and I actually meant to make a video last night, but unfortunately we were in the midst of thunderstorms here. Nothing like they got up in the Northeast, but it was bad enough that my power kept going out, and I don't want a dead computer, so I just shut everything down and said, you know what, I'm going to try and do this video tomorrow. So up here is all that really remains of the city of Lornathath. Good job, me. Anyway, it's all that remains of the Night Elf ruins, completely infested with Naga left, right, and sideways, but you know, that's alright. And they have now taken it over completely, and it is now known as Wrathscale Lair, where occasionally you will get Lord Zix, who is a rare spawn that you can kill for some at least slightly better loot. Now, there's not a whole heck of a lot left on Bloodmyst Isle, except for, of course, the middle. So that's where we're headed next. We're going to start our journey up the middle of this island at the Bloodwatch. This is the area that the Draenei have established to try and see just how badly all of their spiffy little crystals have messed up this isle. Spoiler alert, it's pretty darn bad. And see if there's anything that they can actually do to fix it. So you'll go around, you'll gather mushrooms, you'll investigate all sorts of things, and eventually you will also discover that the Blood Elves are here. Oh no, the Blood Elves are coming! And they have also established a presence here on the Isle, and they've kind of teamed up with an Eridar. Spoiler alert if you have not finished off the quests. But yeah, you do a lot of investigating here in Bladewood. You check out, kill a bunch of their sentries, and then move on along a little bit further to your last little questing area, which is right up here, and that is, I think it's called Vindicator's Watch, Vindicar's Watch. We'll find out in a minute. I think I remember now. I'm pretty sure it's Vindicator's Rest. Watch, rest, you know. You do what you gotta do. But you'll come up here and you will be sent out to help out these Vindicators who are here in a graveyard, basically. And your penultimate sets of quests are going to have you taking out a few of the commanders. You're going to investigate a couple of pools that have been completely corrupted. you're also going to be sent over to where we're going to go on our very last little bit, but you're going to come up here and eventually discover that there is an Eridar taking out or giving all of the instructions. Also, you have to kill Mattias the Cruel, who used to be a massive pain in my rear end because he patrols up and down this road, and he used to be an elite. And he used to absolutely decimate you if you were not ready to take him out. Now, I've quested at level in this area. He's gotten a lot easier, which is both good and bad. But for our final little bit, we are going to go over to Amberweb Pass because it has the area that is the closest that I have found to housing in the Bloodmyst Isle. Of course, I guess the bad part about it is right across this river is nothing but giant spiders, but other than that, how is the play? But yeah, I found this little campsite. This is the Telathian's camp. I think Telathian might be the quest giver over here. Don't quote me on it, but we'll run over here and see. Nope, that is researcher Cornelius. But yeah, your little set of quests that you're going to do here is rescuing the rest of the researchers. Unfortunately, you can't tell if what you see here are researchers or if there's some other creature. Like that one right there, that was a Murloc. So when you're doing the quests, it's about a 1 in 5 chance that you'll actually manage to rescue a researcher. Usually you're just gonna let loose some Ravagers, maybe a couple of Murlocs, every once in a while a Satyr. But up at the top of the hill, once you get up there, you get to see the absolute queen of the spiders, probably one of World of Warcraft's creepier spiders that I've ever run across. And let's see if we can get up there and visit her without aggroing every spider on here. Not too bad. But yeah, she's a big one. And she is right here. And that is Zarok. So that is the spider that is up there. It is so joyous. If you have arachnophobia, skip the Amberweb Pass. Skip the Amberweb Pass quests because you're gonna see a lot of creepy spiders. But really, that's about it for the island. I mean, there's the cryo core, which is just yet another giant piece of Draenei equipment, but there's not too much, especially since you can't fly. Like, I would love to fly up there and check out that hunk of equipment, but unfortunately we can't. So that's going to do it for this week. Now, next week, I'll probably go ahead and let Onyx have a turn, because next week, well, we'll probably have actually both girls doing their thing, but next week we are going to be checking out Felwood. Interesting place. Actually has some housing, so that makes me excited. And yeah, just a really, really cool place. So, from me, from Beryl, and from my buddy here, the webbed creature. Let's see if we can get a good zoom in. There we go. All right, say goodbye, Beryl.